We're here today at St Patrick's Academy in Lisburn. Can you tell me what's the importance of children's reading initiatives like these?
Well, this is part of a programme that both Seán's department in the south of Ireland and our own here in the north have as part of the North-South Ministerial Council. Children learning to read, and Siobhán Parkinson said it in there, they're active. It's an active role that they play when they're reading books. It's really important that they enjoy reading. This school is a very good example of a school that has increased its literacy and numeracy. It's a credit. They take whole school approaches, and that's why they've done so well. This is one of the reasons why this school is where we're launching this today. The important thing is that children read, and that parents, who play such an important role in children's lives, that from the word go, from the minute their child is born, that they're reading to them. So it just becomes part and parcel of the daily life. We all know 30% of the learning is in school, 70% is in the community and home. So if the routine is you go to bed, you get a book, whether it's to look at the pictures, whether it's to read the book, and that just becomes part and parcel of it. So important for young people's development, and it's a friend for life.
And the same question to Seán Haughey.
Well, this is a very important initiative, and I'm delighted to be in St Patrick's Academy here this morning to launch this particular programme. And these programmes are very important. The education system is encouraging students in creative writing and in storytelling and in reading generally. And literacy and numeracy are, basic policy as far as education is concerned, and we need to encourage children from a young age to read, because that's the key to a successful education. And it's very important also, I think, that parents will be encouraged to read to their children, even to have books in the house, because in some cases that's not the situation. So really I'm delighted to be here. I think this is a wonderful initiative. The children are having fun, and programmes like this, encouraging literacy and numeracy from an early age, are so important.
And just briefly, what was your favourite book as a child?
Flight of the Doves. I loved it.
And who was that by?
Walter Mackin.
And yourself?
The Secret of Moon Castle by Ina Blyton.
Siobhán Parkinson, you are the Laureate Nanog. We're here today at St Patrick's Academy in Lisburn. How important do you think it is that government get involved in reading initiatives like this?
Well, it's absolutely crucial, because if you can't read, you can't really function in our society, can you? So reading is absolutely crucial for children, and without schools doing fabulous things and governments backing schools to do fabulous things for children and reading, children just don't get that opportunity. So I'm absolutely delighted to be endorsing this this movement. Yeah.
So Alan Durant, we're here in St Patrick's Academy today for the Children's Book Initiative. Can you tell me how important do you think it is that children get into reading at a young age?
I think it's vital. Reading is sort of, it's kind of like the pathway to everything. And and this is why it's so important to get kids involved in reading from a very early age. Right down to picture books, right from that kind of reading bedtime stories. This is the kind of the first step. And one of the things that worries me about these days is when you go into school and you ask, quite young children, maybe 7-year-olds, how many of them have a bedtime story. You find maybe it's only half of them. And to me, that's kind of a shame, and it's something so important, that kind of sharing story, getting children involved. And I think also that the thing about reading, to me, as well as it should be something enjoyable, and of course for some children it's not. And it's the same with writing, really. A lot of children, they don't find it an enjoyable experience. And I think that why they don't is because maybe they're not writing about things that really engage them, or not reading about things that engage them. And I think if you read about things that are to do with your life, in some way that kind of connect with your life, then it's going to be a lot more interesting if you try and read or write about things that have nothing to do with you. And the important thing I think about also is reading is that it develops your imagination. That's what I've been saying to them today, and it's the best way to develop your imagination, because when you read, it's a creative process, because you're not just got you're making the pictures in your head, and so the writer writes the words, and the reader makes the pictures. And of course, the better you are at that, the more you read, the better you get at that, and then that's developing the imagination, and that's important for improving your writing. But also, I think that it makes life more interesting if you've got a bigger imagination.
And did you have a favourite writer or book whenever you were a child?
I did, yeah. I mean, when I was, when I was in primary school, I certainly didn't want to be a writer. I wasn't really interested in writing. I didn't really enjoy it very much, but I did love reading. And it's books like, the C.S. Lewis Narnia stories. I loved the famous 5 books by Enid Blyton. I used to read lots of football books by this guy called Michael Hardcastle, who still writes books now, I believe. But my favourite book of all was a book called The King of the Castle by an author called Muriel Trevor. I first read it when I was 10 years old. I went to my local library. I was allowed to take out 4 books, and I had 3, and I could choose one more, and I didn't know what to choose, so I just looked along a shelf at random and I came across this book. I thought, it looks all right, so I took it home, started reading it, and it grabbed me from the first page, and it had this effect on me that no other book's ever had. It's like sent a tingle down my spine, as if that book had only been written for me. And I've got my own copy of it, which someone bought for me when I was 10, and I've still got it at home, and it still has a sort of pride of place on my shelf at home when I look at it, and I often read it again, and it still has the same effect on me. And that book probably did more than anything to inspire me to become a writer.
Megan, Nathan and Jordan, how did you enjoy listening to Alan today, Megan?
Yeah, it was very fun seeing his opinion on all his different books and how he enjoys writing.
Mm-hmm. And do you enjoy reading, Nathan?
Yes, sometimes I make my own poems and books up too. Mm-hmm. I've got loads of acrostic poems on Halloween, so I do.
Very good, and you'll be reading some of those next week then, will you, for Halloween?
Maybe, yeah.
Very good. And Jordan, what kind of books do you like to read?
I like reading Enid Blyton books. I love mystery books like Secret 7, and I enjoy Alan Durant. I read a chapter of his book and I thought it was really good. I loved the way the soldiers was invading his village and he was forced to move to a different country.